Now I love the quotes that are now collaged onto the background. For the next step, what I'm going to do is create some kind of subject to go onto this collage. And now I feel at the moment that a heart would be a good subject to have on my collage surface, but if you want, you could go for any shape form that really resonates with you, and that's also easy. If you want to go for complex shapes, like, or not complex shapes that aren't symmetrical, like a heart or a butterfly, you could then go and download some free stencils easily available online and trace out those shapes and have them as a subject for your painting. But the idea of this painting is to really keep things easy for anybody to do it when they are desperately needing something easy, something uncomplicated to create, and not really get stressed about fiddly areas that need cutting and all of that. So which is why I am thinking of going either with a butterfly or a heart, something that's symmetrical and reasonably easy to create. Now for this next step, I'm going to use a printer paper. Any white paper would work, and you're going to need an assortment of colorful serviettes and paper. You could use scrapbooking paper, any paper that's colorful and that's going to sort of form the components of the heart or the subject. So what we are going to do is I'm going to take a smaller part off to create my butterfly. Let me move that out of the way. 5 cents. Okay, and the bigger section I'm going to use for the heart. Now asymmetrical shapes are really easy to create. All you do is fold the paper and then position it, check that it fits. So whatever subject I create, it needs to be somewhere off center-ish in the middle 1/3 section. So maybe a heart that big. Okay, and then I'm going to make some butterflies. I may not use all of them, but I'll just create some extras just in case. It's always a good idea to create extras, because when you're in the creative zone and you run out of materials or components that you really want to use, it can take away some of the fun of the creative process. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some extra butterflies just in case. I may not need them, and that's okay. The cutouts can be used in some other project. Okay, then all you need to do is cut these shapes out and then position them in a place where you see fit onto your collage. Okay, so I'm going to cut them and be right back. So once you are happy with the size and the shape of subject, just position it and draw around it with the pencil. I have used a marker pen, a permanent marker, only because I'm confident and I'm also happy with imperfections. But if you're somebody who likes things to be perfect, it might be a better idea to use a watercolor pencil or a very soft lead pencil to draw the outline of the shape. Okay, you don't need the butterflies just yet. We need the outline as a guide for us to add the colorful pieces of serviettes and other scrapbooking paper that you would have collected. So the next step is to get your glue out, something to apply the glue, and then your color paper or serviettes or scrapbooking paper, and then start ripping them in small pieces so that you can use them to collage the inside of the butterfly. Now if you're using a thick paper like wrapping paper, use this in less quantities, or the reason being this is going to be very opaque, and we don't want to lose the affirmations or quotes that we have in the background. What we want is a thin layer on top of it so we can still see through the quotes that are in the background. So if you're going to use this, the idea would be then to use them in areas where there's no text. Okay, so rip them up really small, and then you can use them in areas where there's no text. It will add a little bit of different type of texture, and that's always good to have texture variations in your collage. Now the other reason why I recommend choosing a symmetrical shape is it's much easier to collage them quickly. If you opt for a asymmetrical shape like a bird or a human or illustration of some kind, it might be a better idea to use forceps or some kind of a tool where you can really get into the small delicate areas or the fiddly areas of the shape or the subject. The next step, I'm going to apply the glue onto the shape. You are better off using a brush to apply the glue onto the shape, just because it's much neater and you can get into the tight areas or the fiddly areas of the subject, especially as I mentioned before, which are not symmetrical. Okay, so I've applied my glue, and then I'm going to use these opaque pieces of wrapping paper to go on areas where I don't have any text showing through. Now if you aren't able to get too close to the edges, that's okay, because later on we're going to come in and apply some paints to tidy up any area or shape that's not quite right. Now do you see the difference that when you put the wrapping paper on here, you're not able to, being opaque, you're not able to see through the background anymore. You don't need to fill up each and every inch, because we are going to come back and tidy things up with paint. So don't worry if there are areas that have no background and no collage paper on top of it. I'm just adding another layer of Mod Podge on top of this again to seal this and set things properly onto the background. Again, I would recommend using brushes, a very soft brush to do this. I prefer using my fingers, but I do practice caution and clean up well after I've completed my projects. Also, you could use, if you prefer using your fingers, you could use some latex or vinyl gloves to do the step. Now at this stage the painting doesn't look much, and it's going through what I refer to as the ugly stage of a project, but do persevere. We are heading towards the more fun parts of this paint your happy final project. So enjoy doing the process and stop trying to focus on having a certain final outcome of this art project. Just let it evolve, let it come out, let it come from a place of love. All right, so I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer and see you shortly.